Well, welcome to the podcast. Nathan Newberry here, your host. I'm super pumped for you guys to listen to a story from Dan Harrison. He's going to be able to share his story. He coaches so many people. He has some really good strategies that we're going to talk about, but he has a really good story about building up to the success that he has too. He's going to share with. We're going to really hit on some tactics and principles and habits toward the end, so stay till the end there. If you haven't liked and subscribed or even reviewed the podcast yet, please do. That helps support the growth here. And then also in the show notes here, there is a free gift I want to give everybody that's listening, a free training. If you haven't clicked it and got it yet, it's going to be a training on how to build an online influence. So many times people want to build a personal brand. They want to coach people, give expertise. They just don't know where to start. They don't know how to run ads. They don't know how to build sales or what that conversation looks like. Down below, it's a full workshop down below that I want to give to you, a gift from me to you to really help you and serve you on that journey. Hey, Dan, as we're diving in here to the podcast, what is high performance? I want to get your expertise and how that applies to your life. How do you do that? How do you point people to it?
Yeah, I'm high performance. Yeah, interesting. I think like my definition of it or is mostly like a flow state more than anything. And the more that I can get into a flow state, I find I perform better. So the things are like sleep. Sleep is high priority. And yeah, just like, well, there's lots of little things that can get me into the flow state, but I definitely perform at my highest if I'm connected, I'm present, I'm in the moment. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so true, getting a flow state. And having young kids, it's not always easy to do it. So I think you're more aware of it and take advantage of it when you are.
I've had to restructure my entire life to create the flow state. I get up at 4:00 in the morning just so that I can have 3 hours without the kids to get into that state. Yeah.
Smart. Tell the audience here of like how you help people, how do you serve people, get some context around what you do there.
Yeah, sure. The bigger context. So it seems like another lifetime ago, but I used to be a certified financial planner. So I worked in the financial industry for 12 years. Kind of from the inside out, realized that whole world is, it's not actually set up to help the everyday person that I was helping. And so in 2016, I quit and went online to be a money coach. And that's when I had to learn all about online marketing, getting clients from the interwebs, running ads, all that good stuff. I built that business up and sold it in 2019. And then I launched the company that I have now, which is the Quantum Collective. And my very first client was my wife, who is a therapist. And I helped her go online, build a private practice. And then since then, we've helped a lot of health professionals, coaches, self-employed individuals who want to go online, similar to how I did. And yeah, we help them grow and scale, build $50,000 to $100,000 a month lean businesses. And yeah, that's a little bit of the context.
Awesome. Was your wife when you met her, or she became your client and then you married her?
No, she was a nurse when I first met her. It's actually, we've been together 10 years now. So when I met her, she was a nurse, encouraged her to pursue what she wanted to do, which was going to back to school, become a therapist. She did that for 4 years. And then, yeah, she would come home and be like, oh, I got this opportunity to work at this clinic or this clinic. And I would review the contract and just like, this is not a great deal for you. Why don't we just build your own business online? And helped her do that and realize, I can help a lot of people do that. So yeah.
Bring us even further back, like to understand this is high performers, high achievers. They're wired a little bit different. We've taken the leap than most people from a day job to being their own boss.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Talk about that wiring at the very beginning. How did you know you were an entrepreneur at heart? And then what kind of led up to the success that you have now?
A lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The success now is like a function of, yeah, a lot of hard lessons learned, I would say. Um, but if you go back, I think I've always known like school was never school was never my, forte. And when I was 20, I was always like a dreamer and had ideas, and I went big out of the gates and tried to do a land development project when I was 20 with no idea what I was doing. Went $500,000 in debt while I was making $8 an hour and as a server. And then I was in the bank so much trying to not go bankrupt that they gave me a commission only job. And so I was selling insurance. And that was really the only way that I could see. It's like the more that I worked or the smarter that I worked, I could create my own income. And so even though I was working in financial institutions, it was always commission based and entrepreneurial in its scope. And, but for me, I took a big risk early on. It blew up in my face. And then I spent the next decade like learning from it. And it gave me some of the greatest lessons. My sister asked me like a few years ago, she's like, if you could go, like, would you do it again? Like if you were back in that situation. And it was, if that was the only way that I could learn the lessons that I now have and have the wiring that I now have and the perspective on life that I now have, then I would do that again, even though it sucked for a lot of years.
Yeah.
If that was the only way I could have got what I have now, then yep, I would do it again.
You've been married for 10 years. Did you
Yep.
go through some of those challenges while you've been married, and your wife have seen the good, bad, and the ugly there too?
I think my wife is actually responsible for a lot of my healing around when I met my wife, I was pretending to be wealthy and successful, but I wasn't actually. Had lots of debt. On the surface, it might have looked like that, but at the same exact time, I'm like, I think I have to go bankrupt. And so had to have like, but I really liked my wife. So, and I was like, well, I have to be honest. So she was maybe one of the first people I was like really honest about my financial situation too. And I just remember her saying like, did you think I was with you for the money? And I was like, oh, no, I guess not. And yeah, even just having that conversation, being honest about it, allowed me to, I'd say, like heal it. And then, yeah, being an entrepreneur, being a father, being married, caring about my health, balancing all of these balls definitely has like, it feels like a constant negotiation, balance, challenge. But I think both of us are just like both aligned on where we're going and know, yeah, we like got each other's back and challenges lots over the years. Every new, like, we have 2 kids. The first kid was like massive identity shifts for both of us. Second was like massive shift in time and calendar and navigating that. You have kids,
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, lots of challenges throughout the process. But I would say like if you go back to the very beginning, I would say she was like a catalyst in the healing that allowed me to ultimately allow me to separate my worth from money, success, and that is incredibly freeing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good that you have the right support. There's so many times that entrepreneurs, because of their so obsession, a maniacal like vision for things, that they just ruin relationships in their wake, right? And we see the world mentors, like Steve Jobs or other big people from history that have done great things, but their family is in the wake of all that challenge of obsession for growth.
Totally.
And I think the true wealth is balancing all of those things. And more often than not, we don't learn them by just being successful. We learn them by just the trial and error and the gut wrenching challenges of everything. And it's like before I had kids, or even before I was married, and we talk about this a minute too, is I really didn't realize how selfish I was until I got married. And then I really didn't realize how selfish I was until we had kids, because it's just like you have to give so much of yourself, and it's not easy, especially at the younger seasons where they're just demanding so much so. And it's just like, I got to do this. And being an entrepreneur, talk about that challenge of trying to like build a business with balancing the fitness and the mindset and the growth. And then just even the shift. I mean, Dan, I wake up at 4 a.m. too. During high school, if you said that I'm going to be up at 4 a.m. and like, like, who are you? You know?
Totally. Yeah. Oh man, I can relate to all that. Yeah. But they're also the I feel like they're such great teachers, or like
life has its own lessons, right? That kind of wields that focus toward what our goals are, our passions are.
Yeah.
Have you had any moments where you wanted to give up being an entrepreneur, saying, hey, it's probably just easier to go work for someone else?
Not in a long time. I'm pretty sure I'm unemployable now.
Yeah.
And have been for a while, like at least 10 years. But early days for sure. And yeah, but I think like over time, the cool thing about being an entrepreneur is like seeing the idea unfold into, you're like, wow, it's like, that was literally a seedling of an idea. And then it unfolds. And then once you see that happen enough times, I have cultivated enough trust in the process. And no, so even when the things are hard, we just went through this like a couple months ago. It was like, we needed to restructure the offer, the team, like a bunch of pieces all at once. Not easy. But also, it's like, I've been here so many times. I know exactly how this plays out. It's like, it's going to be bumpy for a couple months, and then it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Sure enough. Yeah. And it's hard. We had to let people go. We had to restructure things. And now it's good. And so in the early days, for sure, I would dream about easier paths, and now I'm kind of like, bring on the challenge. That's like part and parcel.
And I think that's a good like shift in mindset. It's like, to do anything great, to achieve life to the fullest, it takes those death-defying challenges. It's leaning into that pain. It's like if you've worked out, for all the listeners, it's like, it's painful, but it's like a good pain, and you're like, oh, bring it, and then you start craving that. Totally. It's almost like that, like with entrepreneurship. It's like after doing it for a while, like you're saying, Dan, it's like you start realizing this is going to be hard and it's going to suck, but on the other side, it's going to be good.
Totally. Or even if you can like the suck, that's even better. If you can be like, in the suck, and just be like, this is great. I'm grateful for this. I found that helpful.
And the fact that when you go through it for a while, you can kind of pace it and kind of gauge it. And I want to then shift gears right now too. Yeah. And it's like, there is so many different funnels to grow online. Just a trillion, and made up some.
Yeah.
Like, talk about some of the ways that you get clients and what you suggest people to do now.
Yeah.
They're starting, or they're like trying, they're struggling, they're wanting to scale. Like, where do they go? What's some little advice that you would give people to start with?
Yeah. I mean, I honestly, I like really don't like the idea of funnels even. The word that like feels more aligned for me is like more so like an ecosystem over a funnel. Like a funnel feels like a process where it's like, and I just don't think that this is how it happens right now anyway. Like, it's like they opt in, they hop on a call, they book a second call, they become a client or some version of that. I feel like now it's people's like attention spans are short. They like opt into something, I forgot about it, and then I opt into this other thing, and then I see a thing on YouTube, and so how I've thought about it is more so like I have a little tiny corner on the interwebs that's like my little ecosystem of clients, of leads and prospects, and I create community, workshops, Instagram profile, and all of these things are email list, and these are like, if people are in there, they're in my ecosystem, and um, yeah, and so that feels a little like better to me, I would say. And then to add like one other element to that is um, I really, and I didn't think this way until I would say like more recently, but the thing that allows us to grow now and like grow faster and grow with consistency is, I think, like can be reduced down to the degree of trust that I have in the marketplace and with my team and with myself. And so and I think that that's right now, and with AI, like trust is diminished in the marketplace for a lot of different industries, ours especially. And so I think just like focusing on being a trustworthy human, being a leader, and establishing more trust with yourself, with your market. And so how do you do that? It's like being consistent. It's being a real expert and an authority in your space. It's pushing yourself to be a high performer, to be better. And the more that I expand that trust, the easier and the more speed, the easier it is for clients to pay me, to work with me, to grow. Which really, if like another way of saying that is, it's like building a brand, building your personal brand, your reputation, and your relationships are what that's made up of. So in the beginning, it looks like, start locally, go have a coffee with somebody, go like, go help people, just sow goodwill. And I think that that's another thing. We've been doing that for like 5 or 6 years, and only now do you like really see the tsunami kind of come back, where you're like, I've been giving freely, free coaching, free workshops. You just did it at the beginning of the podcast, like, hey, here's a free workshop, and yeah, and so I think that has served us really well. And in the beginning, it's like having a generous heart, being generous, just looking to help, build good relationships, be a trustworthy human. Those are the things that over time.
That's so good, man.
Yeah.
I think putting that value first, giving first, is the best way to build, relationships, long-term trust, with everything. I remember reading, Alex Hormozy, $100 million leads, and he has those 4 core, with content, paid ads, cold outreach and warm outreach. How do you go about applying some of that? Because I see, behind you, a school games, award that you guys won, and follow you guys along where you guys have done that. What's your guys' philosophy and how you guys build that whole lead generation system out for your offer?
Yeah. So if you look at it like an ecosystem, so we have kind of 3 core strategies, I guess you could say, and they all work independently, but they also, like, as you stack them on top of each other, it just compounds into a beautiful machine. All of which are driven primarily with ads initially. But I think the thing that makes it work, like often people will think of ads as like a silver bullet. But the mind frame that we have with ads is like, knowing that it's a very small percentage of people who see our ads on day one are going to buy in the near future. And so it really is like a long-term perspective play on ads. I'm not even like, obviously you want to be profitable as quickly as possible, but yeah, there's like a compound element with ads. If you have a good community, a good nurture system, you're providing value consistently. So for us, we run ads to grow our Instagram following. Super simple, pretty basic, but we're able to grow that for $1 or $2 per new follower. Then we have a school community where we give away a lot of our courses and resources away for free, kind of help people, with anything that we help people with: ads, sales, funnels, mindset, building teams, things like that. And then once a month we run a workshop, and we invite people from Instagram and from our community to join us live. And we enroll people in all of those parts of the ecosystem. We enroll people from Instagram, we enroll people from school, and we enroll people from our live workshops. But yeah, those are kind of like the three pillars, all of which are primarily driven on the front end by ads, and then supported with just showing up and providing value and nurturing long-term relationships.
When we're talking about like batching things, buying back your time, how do you go about doing that? Because I believe, Dan, do you have a business partner too that's also in the business too?
Yep. We have a small lean ninja team. So we last year we hit the coveted 100K in monthly recurring revenue. And we did that with we have a small core team of 4. So it's myself. I mostly vision. Have you ever read Rocket Fuel?
I have it on my bookshelf, but it's something I need to read. Yeah.
Yeah, I've just gone into maybe the first half, but it was really interesting because they have a good distinction about almost every. And we noticed this at the school games. So we won the school games 3 times last year, and we got to go and hang out with the 10 top communities in school. And almost every one of those top school communities had a team, and like it was almost like a duo. And so in Rocket Fuel, they talk about there's like a visionary and an integrator, and yeah, having that distinction was helpful. So my business partner Alexander's really like taken on that role, and yeah, and he's like a phenomenal coach. I would maybe even like a shaman. But you mentioned buy back your time and Dan Martell. So using lots of his frameworks, find his stuff very helpful. We really just followed the replacement ladder. So it's like we have Gabby is our EA. She's amazing. Such a MVP hire. And then Alexander helps with all of our delivery. And then we have AJ who does all of our now does sales. And then we have Jaden who actually does the media buying. Him and I both do that part. And yeah, and so like the bigger that the more we grow, I actually have more and more freedom. And which is cool because forever I've been more, I would say, like a CEO mindset. But as the pieces are in place and there's like some freedom, I'm like, oh, I kind of get to go into the artist realm a little bit more. I get to create, I get to like speak, do talks. I've got a workshop tomorrow. And so I feel like, I'm getting to access like a different part of myself in this season of the business, which I feel like I'm like, thank God. It's been a minute. I'm glad I finally get to, okay, this is what I think I signed up for.
How do you batch right now your content game? Because I think people want to know when they're starting out. I think some of the challenges like, hey, what do I post? How do I do it? How do I leverage AI to even like collaborate of knowing what to even post or got to put together? Like, what's your game and focus of how to build that out?
I think if So I'm like definitely not the dude to follow if you want to go viral or you want to have like a huge like following. I think I have 300 followers on YouTube. Um, but I focus, but our content like makes money. So uh the frame that I have, I think if you like zoom out a second first, it's like the way I look at it is um so Instagram is our primary social. We also only focus on one. Like we don't have like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We have Instagram. So it's like one. We just pick one platform. That has so many different things to master in itself. So Instagram. Okay. And on Instagram, like I think of it as just like the framework is live, give, and lead. So Instagram is like, let me share my life behind the scenes. Let me rant a little bit. Here's some thoughts and opinions. Here's my story. That's how I look at social media piece. The give part is giving resources, trainings. And then I look at school as like school is kind of, or my community is basically like my store.
Mm.
So I'm trying to get people from the sidewalk into my store. Because if you come into my store, the context changes. Hey, welcome to my store. How can I help you?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the difference of trying to sell your stuff on a sidewalk versus like having somebody come into your store and be like, what's in here? What? It's a different context.
Sure.
So, and inside of my store, I'm typically leading. So I'm helping people to think. I'm sharing my unique ability. I'm providing my methodologies, my frameworks. I'm sharing client testimonials and like how we've helped. And that's the framework. So live, give, lead. Live is on Instagram. Give is the analogies like the wacky wild inflatable arm man that's like getting people into the store, which has like resources or frameworks or tools. And then inside of the community is let me lead, let me be a leader, let me show you how to do the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your thought about volume? I think there's so many times people think about, consistency or volume of content, or, what do you think about all that?
Yeah. Yeah. So sorry to answer your question, like how do I batch create or like what's
Oh
my
yeah.
content process? So again, it's kind of like zoom out a bit. I'll just look at last month. It kind of is fluid, but I often am thinking about it the same way. So this month, I'm like, I'm going to do a workshop at the end of the month. I'm going to do a workshop on. Right now, we're doing closing by chat. So how do you sell more without sales calls? And so at the start of the month, I think about that workshop, and then I think about like what are the pillars? What do I want to teach? What do I want to talk about? What are the stories I want to tell in there? And I think about creating a workshop. And then as I'm pulling the pieces together for creating the workshop, I get lots of quotes, ideas. And so usually what it looks like is by planning a workshop, I will typically be able to create a weekly YouTube video on like one of the pillars that I'm going to talk about in the workshop. And then inside of that YouTube piece of content that I share, there's usually 3 or 4 pieces of gold or like little clips or little short form pieces of content that I can clip. And then I'll do things like, if I hop on a podcast or I'm coaching some clients, I'll record it. Like I'm recording this right now, and I can send that off to video editors and probably get some, if I get 2 or 3 short, if I say 2 or 3 cool things that could be a short form piece of content, cool.
There you go.
So that's kind of the thinking. I'm always looking for like, how do I how does one thing become multiple things? So whether that's if I'm doing a workshop, I'm going to create the workshop, but it's also going to create my content for the month. If I'm doing a podcast or a coaching call, I'm also going to record that, and it can be a podcast, but can also be a bunch of short form. So often looking for like levers like that.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. So, talking about like your strategy, and if someone came to you and like, "Hey, Dan, I need to start," and
Mm.
then like, where would you point them to? What would you say to do?
All comes like the heart is your offer. So it's if I was like consulting, and we've built cool AI tools and frameworks to help people with that, that we just give away for free. But most of the time, if somebody's just starting and they're oh man, it's probably like do nothing scalable. Do like first I would probably be like, how clear do you feel about your like what you want to do and how you can help? And if
Mhm.
that's not a 10 out of 10, don't worry about anything else. Go get absolutely clear on that. And then I would be like, how confident do you feel promoting that, selling that, talking about that? And if that's not a 10 out of 10, then do whatever you have to do to get a 10 out of 10 confident. You need to go work out. You need to go commit to yourself. You need to go restore your integrity. You need to go, like, what do you have to do? But clarity and confidence, if you don't have those two things, nothing else really matters, because the confidence is attractive. So if you're a confident human because you have integrity, you're taking care of yourself, you're good at what you do, that is attractive, and it's easier to connect with people, which you have to do if you're an entrepreneur. So you have to connect with people. It's easier to connect if you're confident. And then from connections, you can start chat conversations, you can book calls, you can close clients and get cash. But it's like, that's kind of if I look at somebody and they're not getting the results that they're looking at, I can be like, is it the clarity? Is it your confidence? Is it your connections? Is it your chats, calls, closing, cash? Where's the problem? It's probably one of those.
Mm.
Yeah.
Say that again. I think those were good.
Yeah. It's clarity and confidence, and then it's connections, and then chats, calls, clients, cash.
Here you go.
Everybody always is focused on the cash, but a cash is a result of all the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good pathway. Think about your business and life. It's leading, lagging indicators.
Yeah,
For
totally.
sure.
Yeah.
How has fitness been a key part of how you're operating and how you're thinking about growth and how you're operating your business?
Yeah, I feel like for me, I've always like defined wealth as like you would need health, you need relationships, and you need money. And it's like if you only have two of those three, it's like not really wealthy. Um, so the focus for that balance has always been there, but I also have found it very difficult to focus on more than two of those things at the same time. So typically, if I'm in a season of like entrepreneurship and my health, my relationships can only, like my relationships will be lagging. And then it's kind of like, okay, well, let me go on to relationships and the business. And then my health will. So, uh, yeah, that's like it's kind of like a balancing act, I would say, has been my experience with it. But those are the three pillars. So if I know that I'm not performing, that's one of the first things to look at. For me, the way that it looks right now is I get up at 4. I have like an hour of kind of like my devotional time. I'll like meditate. I'll read A Course in Miracles. I'll talk with God. 5 till like 6:30, I'm at the gym. And then 7 to 10, I'm usually in a coffee shop or at the desk, just doing some deep work. But yeah, the health piece is, I think, as well as like as I get older, I'm like having to readjust. Like, oh, I have to do this differently. I can't. What worked when I was 20 does not work
Right.
anymore. And so I'm very much like learning my body, I would say. Like now as I turn 40, and I'm like, one big shift for me This is actually my Chat GPT therapist helped me with this one. Um, what a world we live in.
Yeah.
But last year I set a goal to do an Ironman, a full Ironman, but I got injured like 2 weeks, maybe like a week before. I pulled like my whole hamstring, so I couldn't compete in it. And then my earlier this year, I was going to do. I attempted 75 hard. I failed on day 3. I started over. I did it to day 10. I failed. I started over. I did it to like day 26, and I failed again. And I'm like, what is this? Like, why? I was like, I'm getting annoyed with myself. And so then I like went to my Chat GPT therapist. I'm like, hey, what's going on here? I keep setting these health goals and I fail at them, or I get injured and I feel like I can't complete it. And then it like gave me this beautiful, when you ask Chat GPT to be a therapist, it just asks you questions back instead of like patronizing you with responses. So it's like, well, are these goals, are you thinking in black and white terms, or are these even your goals? Do you care about these things, or are you just accepting them from some external source? And it's like had me thinking a lot about it. And I think I had a very good reframe where it's like, I want to love the process. The result or the end goal of whatever, having a 6-pack, competing in the Ironman, is all of those are like secondary to, can I love the process of being healthy?
Absolutely.
Can I love the process of like being curious about what's happening in my body? What, how can I get curious about being more flexible as I age? And I found that one little reframe, I'm now up. Like, it's kind of like I'm effortlessly going to the gym. I don't feel like I'm punishing myself.
Yeah.
So that, I don't know, that's been my relationship with health.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think there's one thing to be said for accomplishments, right? Like you got that award with school. Like that's a good accomplishment. You feel good about it.
Totally.
But I think if health is a constant thing, right? That you have. Like in 10 years, people would be like, school what?
Yeah, totally.
Right? I mean, it could be, I don't know. But you know what I mean? Like, but your physique and people looking at pictures of you when you're, in your 20s till now, and like, have you been consistent? Your health is what you carry with the rest of your life. So I think it's something to, pride yourself on with the journey, because we all have setbacks, with everything. And I took stock of that too. I was considering, hey, should I do 75 hard? I've read even, Andy Frisella's book, because I love the mindset and growth. And I have never done it yet, but actually I looked at my life compared to actually what those things are. And I'm like, hey, I'm doing that. Like I'm reading 10 pages, like I drink enough water, like I do cardio, I do lifting, maybe I don't break it up, but I do it practically, on a consistent basis. Maybe I miss a day or two during the week, but I'm like, I'm getting strong, getting buff. Like I feel good. I'm healthy. I'm in the sleep. You're prioritizing your health. And that's the point of it all anyways. It's like pushing yourself toward doing what you haven't done. So I think that is so good. I think that's a good trajectory and plan for how people should actually look at it. But it's a journey. Like it took me 2 years to get to this point of what I'm doing now. Like, it's a process. It's not just 75 hard. It's a process.
Yeah, exactly. That's a perfect it's like 75 hard, and then what? And then you go back to like the soft sedentary lifestyle that you had before.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you got a Mexico trip coming up, and how can people follow you even more?
Yeah. The Dan Harrison on Instagram is the spot. And we run these retreats twice a year. This one we did like back-to-back Mexico. We went in November, and then we're going back to Mexico in April. And then in September we're looking at Egypt. But the reason why is we found that like we have a good system. We're good. Like we have a good business model. We have a good system. We can help our clients get results. but inevitably the results will always match the mindset of the leader or the coach or the founder. And at a certain point, most people need less strategies and more therapy. And so we created these mastermind events that are, they are like, in a word, consciousness altering. And we bring in, it's really less about, we do bring in business experts to teach us the newest and latest, strategies, but it's really more about addressing the real blocks and limitations that we have between our ears. And it's really cool because when we go to when people come on the other side of this, of these retreats, almost every single person has just like massive breakthroughs in their business, because it's like they can see it freshly, they can take new actions, they're unleashed, and they're more clear and they're more confident and da 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 da. So, and it's awesome to just mastermind with epic people on a beach in Mexico for 5 days. We do have a couple spots left for that, but the Dan Harrison would be the spot to connect.
Perfect. I'll put that down in the show notes. Go follow Dan. He's a cool guy, has a lot to say. He's always a big thinker, has a family. He talks about some cool stuff on Instagram. Go follow him and connect. And if you are still wanting to build an online audience and you need some help with, ads and knowing how to build sales teams, down below, there's that workshop. Don't forget to check that out. That's going to be a real helpful solution and workshop for you. Thanks again for tuning in, and we will see you on the next episode.